The class. And for those joining the recording, just let you know we'll be using a wall today and we'll be using weights. And I'm going to suggest that we start sitting up today. So you can sit up on a chair, you could sit up on a block, you could sit up on a blanket, or maybe you're comfortable just sitting on the floor. I like to sometimes start sitting instead of lying down, just to let you know that there are options. If you're much more comfortable lying down to begin and that's your preference, it's fine to start lying down. Any day that we come onto our mats, we have many options. And ideally what we're doing in our yoga practice is we're like taking time to think about what's right for us. So I have gotten feedback from a lot of people that they like beginning lying down. And that's often what we do because I think it's sometimes easier to kind of withdraw your awareness and just drop into the feeling of your body when you're lying down. But some people might have a preference for beginning sitting up. And so we just switch it up and just know that you're always welcome to choose whichever option seems better for you on any given day. So whichever we're doing, lying down or sitting up, we want to begin by getting grounded. And if we're sitting, what we're going to think about is our sitting bones. So sometimes I like to kind of rock back and forth until I feel my sitting bones. And then we can imagine sending roots down, sending our roots down from our sitting bones, down into whatever we're sitting on, down into imagining that there's soil beneath us, sending our roots down, down, down deep. We can do this when we're sitting. We can do this when we're standing. We can do this with our feet if we're lying down and our feet are on the floor. That sensation of rooting down often creates a greater sense of ease in supporting us. So root down first, and then feel how that supports your ability to sit up nice and tall. And thinking about sitting up nice and tall without pulling ourselves up by pressing down to rise up. We can also think about our posture, and thinking about our posture often encourages us to kind of push the chest forward. But rather than pushing the chest forward, maybe think about broadening across the collarbone. Maybe think about lengthening the back of the neck, which can be an invitation sometimes to slightly drop the chin. We can slightly drop the chin and even push with a finger into the chin to kind of lift up the base of the skull to create a little more length in the back of the neck. So rather than this temptation to pull up and lift the chin, we're kind of pressing down to lengthen up. So we end up with a nice upright posture, hands wherever they're comfortable. And you might keep your eyes open or you might close your eyes at this point. Let's take a little time now to tune into our breathing. Notice what it feels like to breathe in and out. And for me, when I notice my breath, I kind of automatically slow it down. Maybe you do that as well. Let's begin to deepen our breath. Let's begin to deepen the inhalation, feeling it expand up and out in all directions. Feeling the breath flow in and down. And then allowing that breath, time and space to release and empty out. So a nice, full, deep, expansive breath in. A nice, full, emptying of breath out. Doing that at your own pace for a while. And really focusing your awareness on that experience of breathing. does it feel? Where does the breath go? How does it feel to allow the breath to empty out? Do you notice any change in your mindset or in your emotional state when you slow down the breath in this way? Often find that this practice of deep breathing and full exhalation is very calming. Perhaps you're noticing that. Perhaps you're noticing something else. So checking in with how you're feeling as you're breathing deeply. And then after your next big emptying out of breath, just transitioning to a more natural breath rhythm. As you're here, let's take a moment and soften the roof of the mouth if we haven't already done so. And if we like, we can take some time here to consider setting an intention, something we might want to cultivate for this next hour that we have for ourselves, or something you'd like to invite in or just focus on for this next hour that would help you, support you, serve you in some way. Breathe it in. And then when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. And let's go ahead and now we're going to transition to lying down. And I'm going to want you, when you get to lying down, to have a set of lighter weights that you can grab onto once you're lying down. So we're going to lie down. You could have something under your head if you like. You're going to have your lighter set of weights. And put your weights in your two hands. You can take your arms up toward the ceiling and then feel the weight in the hands encouraging the back of your shoulders to drop back, kind of reset your shoulders so they're not up off the floor, they're relaxed back and down. And then bend your elbows so it's 90-degree angle. So what we're going to do with our arms is we're going to keep our arms at this 90-degree angle, and we're going to open them out to the side so they're 90-degree angle. And we're going to have them come close to the floor but not quite touching. And then we're just going to bring them back up. So we're going to keep that bent arm. We're just going to open out and then bring the elbows up over the shoulders. So we're just working the muscles of the chest and the inner arms. So that's going to be the movement of the arms. So let's just bring the arms back up for a moment. We'll see what we're going to do with our legs. So bring your feet off the floor, bring your knees up. So we're going to open the arms and open the knees at the same time. So same thing with the legs, open and bring back up. So just keeping a bent elbow, bent knee, and opening and bringing back up. But with the legs, we're going to switch it up. So the next time your knees come up, we're going to take the legs every other time. And I want you to just tap your toes down and then bring your knees back up. So we're going to open everything out to the side and bring it back up. And then the toes are going to tap down. And you can do that same arm motion as you do the toe tap. So the arms do the same thing, opening out. And then the toes are going to tap in the same thing with the arms. That makes sense, I hope. So the arms stay the same. The knees go out and up. And then the toes tap down and come up. The knees go out and up. And then the toes tap down and come up. I'm going to do a number of these. And of course, you're going to make decisions about how many you want to do. And if the toes tap close to the body, that's going to be slightly easier. If you want a greater challenge when your toes tap down, you could take your toes a little further away. We're going to do quite a few of these, so I'm not feeling the need to challenge myself too much. Let's do maybe 4 more of these. We're going to tap the toes. That's 1. We're going to open and up and then tap the toes. That's 2. We're going to open and up and then tap the toes. That's 3. And this will be our last round here. Tap the toes and come up. All right, good work. Release your feet down. Release your arms down. We're just going to do a little gentle bridge. So if you had something under your head, move it out of the way. Have your feet on the floor. Have your arms at your side. Try not to turn your head. Just press into your feet and lift your hips up. So just kind of opening up the front of the thighs, the front of the hips a little bit here after we were in that hip flexion for quite a while. Press down to lift up and take a breath. And then let's roll down out of that bridge. Just letting the spine release gradually. Once we're all the way down, just let everything relax. Take a breath. And then let's just roll to the side and we'll make our way all the way around to all fours. Coming onto hands and knees, cushioning your knees if you like. Just move around until you find yourself with your hands supporting your shoulders, knees right under your hips. Find some length in your spine. Take a breath in. As we exhale, it's round the back. So we'll drop the tail round through the low back, the mid back, the upper back, and drop the head. And then we'll come back to our long flat back. And then let's tip the tailbone up and arch through the spine, making the heart forward, looking forward. We'll go back to flat back, and then let's round on the exhale, and then move into extension on the in-breath. Or you can do this however you want. You move at your own pace. If you want to move a little front or back or side to side, you can. Go ahead and make this cat-cow work for your body this morning. We're just kind of waking up the spine here, moving with our breath, moving in ways that start to make you feel what it feels like to move and breathe in your body here. After your next flexion or extension, coming back to neutral spine. And then we'll go ahead and sit back on our heels and lower into child's pose. So you could have your forehead coming to the floor or your forehead on your bent arms. Take a moment here to feel your breath. Breathe in what you're focusing on this morning. You can always use your exhale as a way to let go of something if there's something that's been challenging or difficult or bothering you. Maybe breathe it out here. And then let's lift our heads up and reach our arms way out in front. Kind of walk your fingertips forward so your arms are stretched way out in front of you. You can just be looking down at the floor. As your hands reach forward, stretch your hips back, drop your head down, and then take one arm and reach it more forward. Let's say the right arm, reach it more forward up towards the middle front of your mat. Take your hips to the right and back. Look under that right arm and breathe into that right side. And then slide that hand back, slide your other arm forward up towards the middle front of your mat, and then take your hips over to that side and back. Maybe look up under that arm and breathe into that side. And let the breath go. And then reach both arms way out in front. And so the arms are way out in front, we're gonna pull our weight forward, and then let's lower our chest down into the mat. So we're on belly, and then we're gonna push back up, and we're gonna take the hips back. We're gonna do that a few times. We're gonna rock forward and lower down. If you're on a hard surface, you might wanna cushion your knees. We're gonna take the hips back. So we're just going forward and lowering down. A little tricep push up here, and then pushing our weight back. Let's do a few more of these. Lowering down, starting to work the shoulders here, the triceps. Lowering down and pushing back. A few more here. Lowering down, just kind of sliding your body down inside of your arm. So it's a narrower alignment push up than the traditional push up. All right, the next time you bring your weight forward, pause here. So your arms are straight. You could have your feet on the floor, feet lifted, whichever you like. So from here, could you lower onto one forearm and then the other forearm? And then whatever arm you started with, come back onto your hand, come back onto your hand. Start with your other forearm. So we're gonna go down, down, up, up. So we're gonna add one thing. Let's all do the same arm. So let's start with, we're gonna go right forearm, left forearm, right hand, left hand. And then take your right hand and tap your opposite shoulder. Take your left hand, tap your opposite shoulder. Now we're gonna start with the other side. Left forearm, left hand, right hand. Left hand taps, right hand taps. Let's start with the right hand. Right forearm, right hand, right tap, left tap. Other side. You could be doing this with your knees off the floor too, if you prefer. Left forearm, left hand, left tap, right tap. One more time through. Right forearm, right hand, right tap, left tap. Last one. Left forearm, left hand, left tap, right tap. Nice job. Let's sit back to child pose. And you might want to take your arms alongside your body here. It's just a shoulder release. If that feels good, you can do that. If you want your arms supporting your head, that's fine as well. Take a breath here. Take a moment for yourself. Check in. Let your breath go. And then when you're ready, let's reach the arms out and transition to downward facing dog. Taking a little time here, pressing into your hands, pulling your hips up and back, maybe shaking your head a little bit, trying to free up your neck, maybe pedaling heels down, maybe just focusing on your breath. Notice if all the weight is in the heel of your hands or on the outer side of your hands. Press a little weight on the inner part of your hand, your thumb, your index finger. Then let's bend both knees a bit, draw the hips way up and back, take a deep breath in and out. Do that again with a nice big sigh on the exhale. And then walk your hands back towards your feet, lower your heels down, fold over those soft bent knees, arms and head loose. Ground down through your feet, take a big breath into your upper back. Allow the breath to release. And then let's roll ourselves up, drawing the belly in, rolling ourselves up, stacking our spine. Rooting down as we come up to stand, lifting the head, lengthening the back of the neck. Let's take the arms and reach them out. As we root down, let's reach the arms up and overhead and breathe in. And we'll exhale, releasing our arms down at our side. Okay. All right, let's come into a sumo stance. So heels a little wider than hips, toes angled out. We can have our hands on our hips. We're going to start to bend the knees, and the knees going out in the direction of the toes. We're going to start to take the hips down and stick our hips back a little bit. So the knees are tracking out as the hips are going back, and the tendency is for the chest to drop way down. Let's try to keep the chest a little bit lifted as we come into this sumo squat position. Knees forward, hips back, chest still upright. And then we'll come back up. Let's do that again. Hips go back as knees go forward, and then come back up. This time we're going to come into that squat position and pause here. Let's lift the right heel up real high and lower it slowly for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and down. We'll lift the left heel up real high and lower it slowly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. And now we'll lift both heels up real high and lower them slowly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Can we do that again? Both heels up real high and slowly lower. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. We're going to push down to straighten up. And then drop back into that sumo squat. This time we're going to lift the heels just a teeny bit. Heels are grazing the mat. And with our heels slightly lifted, we're going to straighten our legs. Nice and slow, gradual. Once the legs are straight, we'll lower the heels. Let's do that again. Hips go back, knees go forward. We'll lift the heels just ever so slightly. And then with that little bit of contact with the mat, we're going to slowly, gradually straighten the legs. Yeah, working the feet, working the pelvic floor. We'll lower the heels down, and let's bring our feet together, and we'll come to the front of our mat. We'll do a little flow. So let's stand with our feet planted, nice and tall. We'll reach the arms out. As we ground down, let's reach the arms up, lifting the ribs, the shoulders, the heart up. And then we'll swan dive forward. Knees can be soft as we fold over. Let's take a breath into the upper back. As we exhale, hands come to shins. Let's extend the heart forward. We'll inhale and fold over again. And then let's bring our hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Exhale and lower to straight arm plank. Let's take a breath here. Exhale and bend the elbows just a bit, trying not to let the hips drop as we do that. We'll take another breath here, and then we'll lower ourselves all the way down to belly. Finding prone mountain here, heels of the hands by the low ribs. Let's inhale up to baby cobra, pulling that heart forward as the heels of the hands press back, and then we'll lower back down. We'll do that again. Inhaling up to baby cobra. Let's lift the hands, lift the elbows, and hug in, and wake up those upper back muscles, back of the shoulders, and then release the hands down, release the chest. We'll keep our hands down as we inhale up to baby cobra, and if we like, we could come up all the way into cobra, whatever level works for you, and then we'll lower back down. Let's push up to knees, curl the toes under and lift the knees, and then lift the hips up and back to down dog. We'll breathe in and out here, creating a little space between the shoulder blades. Let's look a little forward and walk our feet up towards our hands. Plant our feet beneath us. And we'll sweep our arms out, reverse swan dive, rise up, reach up. And then exhale, arms down at our sides. Again, ground down, inhale and reach out and up. Exhale and swan dive forward. Let's inhale and extend halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Bring our hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Exhale, and we're going to drop onto knees. From our knees, let's come up and stand on our knees. Let's step the right foot forward here, getting the heel in front of the knee, and then let the weight move into that front foot. Let the back hip sink forward, and then we're going to push the weight back. Let's do that again. Let the weight move forward, and let that back leg get a stretch, and then push the weight back. Now let's put a little weight in the back knee and shin, pushing down, and then let the weight move into the front foot. And then same arm as the back leg, we're going to sweep it up as that knee and shin press down. Let's sweep the other arm up and take a breath. And then we're going to exhale our hands down. We curl the back toes under and press up to lunge. And from this lunge, we could bring our hands onto the front knee. Let's push into the front foot and straighten up. Bringing hands to hips, we'll turn our hips square to the front of our mat, heel pressing out towards the wall behind. We'll bend the front knee, push down to straighten. Bend the front knee, push that foot down to straighten that front leg. One more time, bend and straighten. This time we'll bend the front knee. Let's drop our arms down again, and again, sweep them forward and up. Big breath in as we reach up. And then we'll exhale our hands all the way down. We'll drop onto the back knee, push the weight back. Let's do the other side. So we're gonna just step the left foot out in front. Hands on the front knee, we're gonna let the weight move forward. And then we'll push the weight back. Again, just getting a nice stretch into this back leg, back hip. This time put a little weight in the back knee and shin as the weight moves forward. You might not stretch as far, but it'll be a more active stretch. And then same arm as the back leg, sweep it up. Then sweep the other arm up and breathe in. We'll exhale our hands down to the floor. Curl the back toes under and press up to lunge. Then hands could come to the front knee and we'll straighten up. Hands on hips, squaring our hips to that short line of the mat. We'll bend into the front knee. Push that foot down to straighten. Bend into the front knee. Push down to straighten that front leg. Again, bend and straighten. This time, let's bend the front knee and keep it bent. Drop the arms down and sweep them forward and up. Big breath in as we stretch up. Exhaling, hands all the way down. Dropping onto the back knee. We can come onto both knees. And let's sit back on our heels. Round over the legs. Drop into child's pose for a breath or two. You might move your head around as you're here. You might move your hips a little bit, whatever feels good. And then lifting our heads up, let's again make our way to downward facing dog. And we'll breathe in and out here. Let's exhale to straight arm plank. We're going to transition to side plank. So one option is to drop to your knees and come onto the forearm of the arm that's further away and come into side plank on your forearm with one knee down or both feet down. Other option is to just roll to the side and put the weight on your bottom hand. One foot can be in front of the other, feet could be stacked. Want a big challenge, you could try to lift your top leg. Let's press down to lift up. Could you lift your hips a little higher to activate that bottom side waist? And take another breath or two. nice and long through the crown of your head here. And then come back to make your way back to downward facing dog. However you need to get there. Breathe in and out. And then we're going to lower to straight arm plank. We're going to do the other side. You could just turn away from your device. I'm going to change sides. So from your straight arm plank, you could just roll to the sides of the feet and lift up, or you might drop onto the other forearm and a knee, or a forearm and 2 feet. So know that there's options here. It is a lot of weight to put on one wrist. For some people have some wrist issues. So feet could be one in front of the other. Feet could be stacked. It's a lot easier if you're not sliding off of your mat. Could you lift your bottom hips up? Activate that bottom side waist. Breathe in and out here. Great. Come back to plank. Pull up and back to down dog. Breathe in and out here. We'll come to straight arm plank again. And this time we're going to make our way all the way down onto belly. Prone mountain. But then let's come onto forearms underneath us. Elbows right under shoulders. We can slice down to lift the chest. Let's curl the toes under and lift our hips up. We could have our knees on the floor, be in a kneeling forearm plank. We could lift our knees up and be in a full forearm plank. We can hold here just like this, or alternate one knee down at a time. We could also try pointing a toe back, putting that foot down, pointing the toes back, putting that foot down. So all kinds of variations. You could tap a toe to the side. You could do little circles of your hips in one direction, and then in the other, stir the pot. So find some variation that you want to work on today. And we'll stay here for a count of 10 and 9, 8 and 7. I might try different things. 6 and 5. You might need a break, that's fine. And 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Good job. Lower yourself down. Take your elbows wide. Let your head rest on your hand. Let everything relax. Great. All right. Let's press our hips down and lift our legs up. Reaching back through the toes. We'll bring our heels in towards the midline and then separate the legs. Bring the heels in toward the midline and then separate. One more time, bring your heels in and then separate. Maybe lift the legs a little higher and take a breath. And then lower down. Nice job. Hands next to chest. Push your weight up and back. Take your hips back. Curl your toes under. Come up to downward facing dog. Last time here. Breathe in and out. Excuse me. Let's walk our hands back towards our feet, lowering our heels down. Then we're going to let the hips lower down, bending the knees. We'll swing the arms forward, sitting back in our low chair. Arms could stay forward, or arms coming up by the ears. Let's breathe in and out here. And then we'll push down to inhale and rise up, reach up. And exhale, arms down at our side. All right, good work. Let's pick up our weights. I think you could potentially start with your heavier weights for this one. And you could be standing at the front of your mat and take a big step back. I'm going to just stand facing you guys because we're going to take a big step back into a lunge. So either foot, just step back into a lunge. That foot far enough back that that back knee is going to bend down and the front knee can bend, right over the front foot. So find your good lunge position. Your feet as wide as your hips so you're not on a balance beam. We're going to lunge down and bicep curl and then straighten. The next time we curl, let's just curl a little bit more out into a V. So we're going to hammer curl forward and then we're going to just curl out a bit. We're going to hammer curl forward and we're going to curl out. Different way to focus the biceps, the upper arms. Really pushing down into that front foot. A few more of these. Nice work. Still breathing. Focusing on grounding. Great. Last one like this. Nice. All right. Now we're going to bend into the front foot and kind of lean forward here. Excuse me, arms dropping straight down from the shoulders. I want you to press back. So you're lifting your arms up and back behind you. See how high you can lift them? Feel your triceps. Lower your arms down with control. Now, can we reach those arms forward? Kind of a little wider than your shoulders. And lower them down with control. Pressing back, lift them nice and high. Lower down with control. Reach them forward, a little wider than your shoulders, like a V. Lower with control. A few more. Press back, lift them high, lower with control. Reach them forward like a V. Lower with control. One more time. Lift them back, nice and high. Lower with control. Reach them forward into a V. Lower down. Nice. Take a big step in with the back foot. Come up to stand. Sorry. All right, other leg. Big step back. Feet as wide as hips. Back heel comes up. Back knee bends, front knee bends, and we hammer curl. And then next time we lunge, take that curl out to the sides. Curling forward, curling out to the sides. Nice work. Curling, traditional, curling, non-traditional. All right, we'll do one more. And curl. And three more. You guys are doing awesome. And out. And two more. And out. And last one. And out. Good job. All right, same thing again. We're going to lean forward, bending into the front knee, arms dropping down, press them back. If you want to change to your lighter weights, you can. Lift them up nice and high, lower with control. This is the hard one here. Lift them out like a V, lower with control. Press it back, lift them nice and high, lower with control. Forward into a V, lower with control. Again, back nice and high, lower with control. Forward into a V, lower with control. Last one, back, lift, lower with control. Forward, lift, lower with control. Nice job. Weight in the front foot, step the back foot in. Straighten up. All right, last thing, you want to have a weight in your hand. It doesn't have to be your heavy weight. It could be a lighter weight. It could also be a block. It's just something that's going to get your hand close to the floor. We're going to do some balance work, focusing on hip strength. One of my favorites. We do this a lot in here. We're going to have the weight in one hand, and then we're going to balance on the opposite leg. So you're going to balance on one leg and bend the other knee and have the weight in the hand of the leg that you're not balancing on. We're going to hinge forward, meaning bending from the hip rather than from the waist. If you need to bend your standing knee, you can. Could you tap the weight down and then bring yourself back up? Change sides. So you're balancing on one foot, the weight is in the other hand, bend the other knee, hinge forward. And you're going to just try and touch the tip of the bell to the floor. without bending at the waist, and then bring yourself up. All right, first foot, weight in the opposite hand, hinge forward. If you need to bend the standing knee a bit, that's fine, but try not to bend at the waist. Touch down, and then make your way back up best you can. Change sides, same thing, hinge forward until you can touch the weight to the floor, and then make your way back up. Haven't done these in a while. One more time on each side. Hinge forward, touch the weight down, bring yourself back up, change sides. Maybe this is easier for some of you than it is for me. Hinge forward, touch the weight, and bring yourself back up. Nicely done. Okay, I told you that we were going to use the wall, so we're going to do that now. I'm sorry, but I have to get a drink of water and clear my throat. So we're going to sit sideways to the wall, and or a door. And again, if you don't have a wall or a door, you can just put your heels up on a chair. But if you have a wall, sit sideways to the wall, and then lower yourself down and put your legs up the wall. So you end up close to the wall, maybe your fingertips grazing the wall, your bum's not right up against the wall, but you're close. Separate your heels as wide as your hips. Let's begin by pushing our heels into the wall. That action is going to make your knees bend a little bit. It's going to fire up the hamstrings, the back of the legs. And then in addition to feeling like you're pressing into the wall, feel like you're clawing your heels down a little bit to create a little more work in the back of the legs. Now, don't turn your head to look at your device. Just look straight up and listen to my voice. As you're pressing your heels into the wall, start to peel your spine up like you're lifting up into a bridge. Lifting up into a bridge, bringing the weight up onto your shoulders. Just like a bridge, we're going to take a breath at the top. And then we'll use our strong legs for support as we really slowly, gradually, incrementally release the spine. So taking your time on the way down to articulate your spine. See if you can feel vertebra by vertebra by vertebra by vertebra, releasing down gradually. It gets a little more challenging to articulate for many of us as we get lower down. So try to keep doing that. Nice and slow until you eventually arrive all the way down. And once your sacrum is down, you can relax your legs briefly and let them kind of flop around and take a breath. Let's do the same thing again. Push heels into the wall, claw your heels down so your knees bend a little bit, and then use those strong legs to peel your spine up and bring your weight up onto your shoulders. Take a breath once you're up here. And then slowly, gradually roll down, taking your time, releasing incrementally, getting maybe sort of like a little spinal massage. Feeling one vertebra, and then the next, and then the next, and the next. And then eventually rolling yourself all the way down and relaxing. And then what I'd like us to do is place our feet on the wall and push the hips away so that you end up, your bum's a little further from the wall. You end up with your knees over your hips and your shins parallel to the floor. So once you're a little further away like this, then go back and put your heels on the wall so your legs are more straight. Your heels are hip distance apart, just like before. Whenever we lift our hips up off the floor, we want to have our gaze up rather than turned towards our device. So looking up at the ceiling, I want you to just press your heels into the wall and lift up. You're not going to go as high, but you might feel the back of the legs working a little bit more. and then lower back down. Now take one leg up in the air. So you're going to push into the wall with just the other leg and lift up. And your knee could bend a little bit on the leg that's lifting you up, and then lower yourself down. It doesn't have to be quite as slow and incremental. Same leg, let's do it again. Press the heel into the wall to lift up, and then lower yourself down. Couple more, same leg. Press down to lift up, and then roll yourself down. Again, press heel into the wall to lift up, and then roll yourself down. So this isn't as much about spinal articulation, it's more about strengthening the back of the leg. So change legs. Put the other heel on the wall, take the other leg up in the air, push that heel on the wall, into the wall to lift your hips up, and then roll yourself down. Again, same leg, push down to lift up, and then roll yourself down. A few more. We work those hamstrings to create balance in the musculature of the legs, to keep going, to provide greater support for the knees. So this is important, useful work to do here. Last one. Nice job. You can put both your heels on the wall. And then you might want to take your feet off the wall and give your knees a hug. I like to sway a little bit. And then let's roll to the side and push ourselves up. Great. All right. Let's make our way back to our mats. And let's sit in bound angle. You can sit up on a blanket again. So we're going to put our feet together. We're going to grab onto, maybe you grab onto your ankles, maybe you grab up to your feet, maybe you like it better with your hands behind to help you sit on your sitting bones and sit up straight. Ideally, we're not rolled back, but we're upright. And let's practice pressing our heels into each other, pushing the feet into each other, which might lift your knees up a little bit, work the inner line of the legs as we do that. We're really pressing, pressing, pressing as we take a breath in and out. And then relax that work. Now let's push the knees away. Push the knees away from each other. And breathe in and out. So you're working the outer hips a little more here. And let that work fall away. And then could we do both at the same time? So think about pushing your feet into each other as you're pushing your knees away from each other. Pressing in and pressing out as we root down and sit up tall. So lots of work here, even though it looks like we're not doing much. And let's breathe in and out. All right, then let that relax. Let's bring the legs in, take them and shake them out in front. So you can sit with your arms at your side and put a little weight in your heels. So again, you're creating a little more action in your legs. Let's sit up nice and tall. Let's reach the arms out and inhale and reach them up. We'll exhale and take the arms out. Now we're going to try hinging forward. Again, hinging means from the hip, not from the waist or the neck. And we'll bring our hands down onto the legs. So different of us, all of us have different abilities to hinge. And some of us, if we have low back issues, hinging may not be great for our low back. So we might bend the knees a bit as we hinge forward. And we might be able to hinge a little bit. We might be able to hinge a lot. But at this point, we're not rounding. We're just hinging and seeing how that feels for us. Hands going down the legs. Some people with nice mobility in their hips or maybe longer arms can grab their feet. Let's take a breath here. And then we're going to let the back round. So again, if your low back's an issue, you might want to bend your knees. We're going to let the low back round, the mid back round, the upper back round, and the head drop down. And we're just going to take a couple of breaths into the back body here. And then let the breath empty out. We'll do that again. Breath into the back. And let the breath go. Great. And then roll yourself. And stack your spine back up. Nice work. All right. You might want to grab onto one weight as a counterbalance. We're going to sit sideways on our mat. We're going to have our legs out in front and reach the arm forward. We're going to sit up nice and tall and take a breath. And then we're going to try and roll down. And the weight's just a nice counterbalance here. Can you release your low back and then your mid back and then your upper back and then your head? We can reach that weight overhead and breathe in. And then let's reach the arm forward, lift the head, tuck the chin. We can reach the weight forward and roll ourselves up. Let's take that weight overhead and breathe in. We'll exhale and reach the weight forward. Draw in the low belly, roll down slowly, gradually. Reach the weight overhead and take a breath. Reach the weight up, lift the head, tuck the chin, reach forward and roll up. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, arms forward, and we'll roll down. Reach the arm overhead, breathe in. One more time, reach up, lift the head, tuck the chin, reach forward, roll up, reach up. Last time here, we'll roll down and stay down. So roll yourself down, reach overhead, take a breath. We'll stay down and we'll just bring the weight up, and then we're just going to set it down off to the side. And let's hug our knees in. We're going to finish up with a lying side twist. So knees hugged in close. Let's keep the knees in close and drop our arms out wide, and then take the knees all the way over to one side until the bottom leg touches the floor and the top leg settles on top. Try to keep those knees stacked as you reach back with the other arm, taking your gaze toward the ceiling or back towards that arm behind you. And let's breathe deeply here, inviting that breath in and down and allowing it to empty all the way out. Do that a couple more times. Nice deep breaths. Letting the exhale be a releasing and a letting go. At the bottom of your next exhale, you can start to bring your top knee up and then your bottom knee back up. Try to keep your knees fairly close, tucked in, and let them drop all the way to the other side, stacking the top knee on top of the bottom knee, and then reaching back with the arm behind, taking that gaze up or toward that arm behind, and then deep breathing here. Feeling the movement of the breath. And that sensation when the breath has emptied all the way out. One more time, in and out. And then bringing that top knee up, the bottom knee, releasing your feet down. Taking one more movement if that would be supportive for you, and then beginning to transition to our final relaxation. So what do you need to be warm and comfortable? Maybe a layer, maybe a pillow, maybe a blanket, maybe all of the above, maybe none. But there's no reward for denial. Taking some time to be nice to yourself at this point is quite useful, quite appropriate, and has some benefit because our goal here is relaxation. And it's not so much about trying to achieve any particular thing. It's about allowing something to arise. It's kind of naturally and on its own. So we just create the conditions from which relaxation will sort of naturally happen. And then we have to give ourselves permission to allow that to take place. So permission to lie back and relax. Permission for the toes to relax, the soles of the feet and the ankles all relaxing, releasing. Permission for the shins and calves to relax, for the knees to relax, even the backs of the knees. Permission for the front of the thighs and the back of the thighs to just release and relax into the floor. We give permission to our gut to soften, release, and unclench. We allow the weight of our hips and our seat to settle into the floor. We give permission to our shoulders to rest back, for our arms to drop heavy into the floor, for the weight of the hands to rest down and the palms to soften, the elbows softening as well, the creases of the elbows. We give permission to the head to release back so that the neck can relax. The jaw can relax. The cheeks and temples can soften. The eyes relax. The bridge of the nose can soften, and the forehead can smooth. We give permission to the whole body to relax, let go, and release. We invite the mind to come along and rest here. As we find ourselves in this relaxed state, we might choose to stay here longer. And if that's what your body's wanting, please do that for yourself. Maybe close your device and stay longer. If you're ready to transition now, you might open your eyes, bring your feet to the floor, gently roll to your side, take a little time to transition. And when you feel ready, you might make your way up to sitting. Take a few moments to close out your practice in whatever way supports you. even a few moments of just connecting with what's important to us can have an impact on our day, on the way we feel. So thank you all for being here this morning. Peace. I did have a little reading to share, so if you gotta go, go ahead and go. But I read this yesterday, but it's my favorite one. I'm just gonna read it from time to time. This is from Dana. She says, "This is what I have to say to you. You know all that you need to know. You already are all that you need to be. It remains only for you to recognize and acknowledge who you are, what you know, and the powerful presence that is awake within you. You think of yourself as fragile, but you are in fact strong. You sometimes feel alone, but you are in truth connected. Believe in this connection. Believe in yourself." Well, thanks everybody. Great to be with you.